There's a rule at the warehouse where I used to work the overnight shift. Nobody told me this rule when I got hired. Nobody put it in the handbook. I only found out about it because of what happened to me on a Tuesday night in February. And by the time I understood what the rule was, I'd already broken it. The rule is simple. If someone knocks on the break room door twice, you do not answer. Not on the night shift, not after 2 a.m., not ever. I know how that sounds. But let me tell you what changed my mind. My name is Marcus. I worked the overnight shift at a large distribution warehouse on the east side of Columbus, Ohio. 12 people total across a building the size of 4 football fields. You could go an entire shift without seeing another soul. The guy who trained me was named Derek. 9 years at that warehouse. Quiet, steady. The kind of person you trusted immediately. On my 3rd night, he sat across from me in the break room and said completely out of nowhere, "Hey, quick thing. If you're ever in here alone and someone knocks on that door twice back to back, no pause, don't answer it." I laughed. I thought he was hazing the new guy. Derek didn't laugh back. He just looked at me and said, "I'm not joking. Don't answer the second knock." Then he got up and went back to his zone. About 6 weeks in, things started feeling off on the floor. I'd hear footsteps in the aisle next to mine. Walk around the shelf, nobody there. Then one night in aisle F, I heard someone crying. Quiet, muffled sobbing from behind the shelving unit to my left. I walked around to check. Empty aisle. The crying stopped the second I turned the corner. 2 nights later, same thing. Same spot. And this time, right before it stopped, I heard my name. Just once, just barely above a whisper. Marcus. I started paying closer attention to Derek after that, because I noticed on the nights I heard the crying or the footsteps, Derek would show up at the end of my aisle at some point. Just appear. Look around slowly. Nod at me like everything was fine, like he was checking on something. One night I finally asked him straight, "Derek, what is it? What's actually in this building?" He said, "It's not in the building. It's outside it, and it's been outside it for a long time." He told me there had been incidents at that warehouse going back 15 years, all on the overnight shift, all involving someone alone in the break room, and every single time the same sequence. First knock. Normal. It's like a coworker coming in from a smoke break. Silence, second knock, louder, more urgent, and everyone who answered described the same thing on the other side of the door. A coworker, someone they recognized, dressed normally, standing calmly, but wrong. Eyes too still, voice slightly delayed. One guy said the person outside was wearing his jacket, but he'd left his jacket on his chair inside 10 minutes before. Every one of those workers quit within a week. One woman named Sandra, 8 years at that warehouse, didn't quit. She just stopped showing up one day. Never picked up her last paycheck. HR called for 2 months. Nobody ever got through. I asked Derek how he knew all this. He said, "Because I answered the second knock once, a long time ago." He looked at me and said, "Whatever was standing on the other side of that door, it wasn't Brian. Brian was my buddy for 6 years. It had his face, his voice, his stories, but it wasn't Brian." "How do you know?" I asked. "Because Brian was standing right next to me when I opened the door. So now you know what I knew going into that Tuesday night in February." Derek called out sick. First time I'd ever seen him miss a shift. I went in anyway. Everything was normal until 2:10 a.m. I was alone in the break room, eating a sandwich, scrolling my phone. The overhead light flickered slightly every few minutes, like it was thinking about going out. At 2:14, I heard the first knock. Single knock. Back door of the break room. I looked up, stood up, and then before I took a single step, I remembered, and I sat back down. 15 seconds of silence. Then the second knock. Louder, slower, deliberate. And then a voice. "Marcus. Hey man, it's Derek. Can you let me in?" I forgot my badge. I want to be honest about what that felt like. It wasn't just scary, it was convincing. Derek's exact voice, the cadence, the way he said, "Hey man," the slight rasp. All of it was right. And the reason he gave for getting his badge was completely believable. I'd seen Derek forget his badge before. Every part of my brain said, "Just open the door." I sat completely still. Then the voice said, "Marcus, I can see the light on. I know you're in there. Come on, man, it's freezing out here." And that was what broke it for me. Because the break room had no windows on the back door side. There was absolutely no way to see the light from outside. It was guessing, it was performing. It knew my name, Derek's voice, Derek's mannerisms, but it didn't know the building well enough to know that one detail was impossible. It had studied us, but it hadn't studied everything. I called Derek right then, hands shaking. He picked up on the second ring. "You okay?" he said. I said, "There's something at the back door using your voice." 5 seconds of silence. Then very quietly he said, "Don't open it. Don't talk to it. Don't let it know you're scared. I'm sorry I called out tonight. I should have warned you." The knocking stopped about a minute later. I put my 2 weeks in the next morning. Derek wasn't surprised. He told me he stayed all these years because if he leaves, nobody will be there to keep an eye on it. I asked him what he thought it actually was. He said, "I think it's been out there a long time, long before the warehouse was built. And I think it gets a little better at sounding like us every single time someone opens that door." I've thought about that ever since. It gets a little better every time someone opens that door. Meaning Sandra and the others, they didn't just disappear. They taught it something. Every person who opened that door gave it more to work with. And Derek is still in that building every night watching those aisles. But one day Derek is going to retire, or call out sick on the wrong night. And some new overnight worker is going to sit alone in that break room at 2 a.m. and hear 2 slow knocks and a familiar voice. And they're going to open that door, and it's going to be more ready than it's ever been. I'm your host. This has been The Deadly Talk.